All right, so a couple months ago, I was mindlessly scrolling on YouTube and I stumbled across a 16-year-old kid from a foreign country who struggled to speak English, had no case studies, but was being super raw, honest, transparent, authentic with his agency journey. And some of you may know of him, maybe perhaps some of you may know me because of him. And this individual is Saeed Kamoon. And when I came across this, I was inspired by his confidence to be able to be so vulnerable. And because of that, I reached out with him and I connected with him. And then I offered to provide a little insight, based on my knowledge of working with over 300 clients as to how he can, kickstart his agency and get off the ground. And Saeed did something that very few people do. He took what I said, he followed it to a T, and he has since worked with over 12 different clients with all those same disadvantages. And now, since then, Saeed and I have gone on to build an excellent working relationship. And recently, he came to me and said, "Hey, Dylan, can you please review my sales call?" And what I said is, you know what? Why don't we do this for a video? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a sales call where a beginner from a foreign country with no case studies and a crappy accent closes a $500 setup fee for his gym lead generation agency. Let's get into it. All right, so I have Saeed's sales call loaded up here onto my computer. Now I'm going to hit play and I'm going to be pausing it as necessary to provide feedback for both Saeed, but then also for you watching this video.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, man? How's it going?
Good.
That's good. How's the day? Life. How has it been treating you, bro? Sorry that I needed to reschedule. My bad.
No, it's okay. Yeah, not bad.
Nah, yeah, because I'm learning how to drive. I haven't learned yet, and I just had driving class and I didn't remember. So yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, man, you look like I was looking into your stuff, into the website and all of it, and it looked like you've been in the business for a while. Like, when did you get started?
2016.
2016, that's a lot. So you got through the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
how was that for you?
That was a little rough, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay, so what I would be doing right off the bat is, first of all, we have to realize that this is not a normal sales call. And the reason why it's not a normal sales call isn't because this prospect joined on his phone or anything like that. The reason why this is not a normal sales call is because Saeed is 16 and he's a beginner, right? So the processes that a 16-year-old beginner is going to use is going to look a lot different than, a 30-year-old veteran. Okay. And the best way to build rapport as a beginner, and one of the things that I would change about Saeed's approach, even though he did it, I would just word it a little bit differently, is really embrace the I am a beginner. I am new to this. I am hungry. I am going to do whatever it takes to help you mentality, as opposed to, trying to build rapport. So what I can see right here is this prospect isn't super interested in hearing about Saeed's life story. I can just tell by his mannerisms. I can tell by his body language. I can tell by his emotion in the words that he is saying. He's kind of giving short answers. He's not really, elaborating. Saeed keeps asking questions, and he, could tell that, when Saeed talked about how he was taking driving lessons, he didn't really care, to be honest. Okay. So if I was to hop on this call when the prospect joins, and the first 30 seconds were fine. Hey, how's it going? All that kind of stuff. But then after that, because I could tell that this prospect just wants to get into it, I would build rapport, not by the words that he's saying, but by, conducting the call in a manner that I can tell that this prospect wants. So this prospect isn't here to BS. He wants to just get straight to it. So I would do that. I would get straight to it, because that is how you build rapport, right? Rapport isn't built through what you say. You're not going to build rapport through a script. You're going to build rapport through the actions that you take. And so if I was Saeed, after the first 30 seconds, I'd be like, listen, obviously you can tell right here, I'm like 17 years old or 16 years old. I started this business like 3 months ago, and I would go straight into my backstory, right? And then with that, you would like set the frame of like, you know, you are being honest, you are authentic, and you are, you know, building a lot of trust by doing that, right? As opposed to asking them, oh, how are you currently generating business and like all that kind of stuff. I'd be like, listen, hey, I'm like 16 years old. I've been doing this for like 4 months. This is going to sound like ridiculous, but I met some friend on the internet who was like really good at this. He makes like a lot of money doing this. He taught me everything that he knew. And then I did this with like 2 other gyms and they've been crushing it. So I wanted to see if, you know, what I've been doing with those gyms could also help you, because honestly, I went through your stuff. I really liked X, Y, and Z about that. And I thought it was like super cool. So, I mean, I guess my next question is, do you X? And then you can get into it, right? But then you set the same frame properly, as opposed to, you know, trying to position yourself as an expert, which is hard to do after you just told them that you're learning how to drive. Okay? Getting back into this.
We lost a few clients, but he's all right.
It's all right. Okay. Yeah, it's really crazy. I see a lot of gyms failed, but I think the main thing is really the attitude. Like, if you have the right attitude, you're going to survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to like ask you, is there like, are you doing word of mouth right now, referrals, or like what are you doing mostly?
Mostly, it's just being affiliated with CrossFit. You know, we get on their website, find us that way. We have some presence on Google, just you know, nothing paid right now. It's just kind of word of mouth on Google searches for CrossFit gyms. And it's a pretty local market. You know, there's a lot of CrossFits in our area, and so we kind of pull from you know, not very far away, 3 or 4 miles around us.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty much it. And like Facebook ads, Instagram here and there sometimes.
Oh, so you tried it in the past?
Yeah, we have paid Instagram and paid Facebook ads. Yeah.
All right. And how did that go for you? Like, did you do it yourself or?
Yeah, no, I did it myself. You know, when I started it originally, when I opened the gym, I opened 25 members just off paid Facebook ads.
Wow. So that's really good. You're good at it.
I tried it a few times and it works okay.
That's really good. Like, I don't know, you did that in 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, in 2016, running gas was a lot easier. I gotta tell you. Like, right now, it's kind of different. But anyway, like, it's...
So I'm assuming Saeed is making that up. Maybe he's done research to come to that conclusion, but Saeed was 10 years old in 2016. And so if the prospect remembers, he's probably thinking, what does this guy know? He was 10 years old, right? And that is an opportunity to break rapport. That is an opportunity to break trust with your prospects. And as soon as your prospect tells that you lie once, he's going to assume everything else that you're saying is a lie. And he's going to assume that you're only here to try and convince him to get on, to pay you money. So that's a very no. Do not lie to your prospect. Definitely big no.
It's really crazy that you got experience like so early. Nobody used ads in 2016. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And how did you know about Facebook ads? Like, what?
I don't know. I've been a Facebook user for, almost 20 years now. So it's like,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Another thing that's very important with sales, and I actually really learned this from a closer who does like $200K a month or something ridiculous. And he does $200K a month. He closes $5,000 offers, and he does it in 20-minute phone calls over the phone. Doesn't even do Zoom. And he basically talked about how he only ever asks a question that like directly relates to the sale, directly relates to the problem, offer, solution, right? How did you learn about Facebook ads does not directly relate to the problem, the offer, or the solution. Like, it doesn't relate to any of those 3 things. And so therefore it is an irrelevant question which does not need to be asked, because one of the 48 laws of power is the less you say, the less chance that you have to say something stupid, right? Whether you want to call that from the 48 laws of power, which is in the book, or you could just use common sense. The less talking you do, the less likely there is that you're going to say something stupid. And if you say something stupid, you're going to break rapport and lose trust with your prospect, which is going to make it harder to do the deal, right? So ideally, you want to do the least amount of talking as possible, which is going to decrease the likelihood that you say something stupid that breaks rapport with your prospect. And the way to do that is to only focus on things that directly correlate to the problem that is here to be solved.
Yeah, just been on platform a lot, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense. So like, and do you like doing referrals and all of that to like generate new business?
Now, real quick, if you want your sales calls reviewed, we have a couple options in order to make that happen for you. So actually, we have a Discord with over 1,500 SMMA owners, and it's where Saeed hangs out. We got free courses, we got free assets, we got literally everything that you could need to be successful with SMMA, and it's also where Saeed met his business partner. So if you want to join a community like that, you can check that out in the description. And then we also have the options to, if you are like serious about SMMA and want to scale to 100K or get your first client, there's a couple options for you to do that as well. Anyways, let's get back into the sales process. So again, I'm going to say one last thing here, and then I'm going to skip through a little bit of this because I see one repeated thing, which is really in Saeed's sales process, the big domino. So what a big domino is it refers to the one different thing or the one action that you can take or the one change that you can make that will ultimately have a huge output, right? It's the one gimmick, it's the one trick, it's the one little thing that results in a huge payout. And in this case, what Saeed keeps doing is he's not like, he doesn't have the right frame, right? He's coming in here framed as obviously appearing as a beginner, obviously appearing as somebody young, obviously appearing as somebody who hasn't do this thousands of times. And then, so he's appearing here, but he's trying to ask questions as if he's here. And so that is breaking rapport. And also you can tell that because he's not fluent in his conversation, you can tell that he's reading a script, right? So my recommendation to Saeed is, instead of trying to pretend you're up here, while people can obviously tell you're here, embrace the fact that you're right here and be raw, honest, transparent, authentic, and that will help him exponentially with his sales process. So I'm going to skip through the questioning phase only because I can see the repeated elements of, Saeed attempting to become an expert or position himself as an expert when Zach here, his prospect, can obviously tell that Saeed is a beginner, which is ultimately leading Zach to give short answers because all I can tell Zach that all he wants to hear is what does Saeed do? How much does it cost? Like that's all Zach is interested in. Okay. And he's basically giving short answers to speed run through Saeed through his questions. He's trying to speed Saeed through his questions to get to the part where Saeed talks about how he can help him. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to skip through the questioning phase because it is less relevant now.
I was getting referrals from existing clients and things like that.
Like you. Things are going. Or 3 mile radius or thing. Well, we can like totally. You sometimes.
It's like one side of like usually awesome, and a lot of people have that have joined that like been like, oh wow, you've been here 7 years. I just got too much attention to
like and slightly different direction back to your home, and it's like, wow, when did this come up? Like,
right.
So like you think kind of the missing link right now is targeting people.
A consistent message too.
Makes sense. So like based on what you told me, what we're doing.
All right, so I have found the part where Saeed begins to pitch, and now let's go through and see how well he does at communicating the fact that his product service offer, SMMA services, are the end-all and be-all solution to Zach's problems.
Yeah, all right, makes sense. So like, based on what you told me, what we're doing might actually work for you, because you know how you said that you are just looking to help more people in your area and everything, well, we can like totally target people within like a 5 mile or 3 mile radius, or we just figure it out. And like I can show you how the system can be tailored to your business if you like. Would that possibly take some pressure off of you?
Yeah. Let's we can take a look at it.
That was great. That was awesome. He crushed that. Based on what you've told me, I loved how he said that. That was a really good transition to the pitch. Good work, Saeed. If you're watching this video, do exactly what he just did.
All right. So let me see if I can share a screen. Give me a second because I haven't opened. Okay, yeah.
Now, are you in Argentina?
Yeah, I'm from Argentina.
Oh, nice. Are you there right now, or do you live in the States now? Or?
No, so I live in Argentina. I'm from Argentina, and my business partner is from Pittsburgh, but I'm located in Argentina.
Cool.
Where are you? Like, you are from? Oh,
Nebraska.
Nebraska, but like within Nebraska, which city? Bro, sometimes I don't remember because we have a few texting people from Omaha and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me share a screen then, so you can actually see this. All right, can you see it?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm not gonna take like 20 years to explain this. We are basically case and scaling. This is me, the CRM manager, and David, which is the ads manager. We both take care of the business. We are just two business partners. And as of right now, we are planning to hire a lot, but we are just us two. And a bit of our system, basically the first main thing is a 6-week challenge, or like whatever your offer is, right? We're gonna have an tailor to your business and actually.
Red flag. So, I strongly recommend that you move away from presentations. And the reason why is because in order to create a successful presentation, you would need to create 25, because every time that you pitch your products or services, you should be 100% tailoring to the problem that they solve, because you have to remember that people don't want, 20 appointments. People don't want more leads. They want to be able to, relieve the anxiety that comes with having to pay payroll, so, they can take home at least $5,000 a month so they can pay for their son's sports. That is what people want. Okay. Now, every single prospect is going to have a different deep down desire. And if we have a presentation, it's not going to be able to relate to that deep down desire, right? So if I was to redo this, I would, first go through the questioning phase like we had just been talking about. And then as Saeed, goes to talk about his system and talks about that, I would do what I call a messy demo. So I have another YouTube video where I break down this in its entirety, but basically it's the point where you just basically show your system and what you do at a high level. But as you talk about each element of your system, you relate it to the problem that they have, right? So instead of, we run Facebook ads, it's, we run Facebook ads to get more eyeballs. It's, we run Facebook ads to get more potential people into your gym so we can get more leads. So ultimately, you don't have to worry about when your next prospect is going to come in the door, if maybe that's what they're worried about, right? And you want to, instead of just saying the feature and the benefit, you want to also include the meaning at which how it impacts their life and how it impacts, more importantly, your prospect's specific life. Okay. So that is the big problem with presentations like this, is because you bottle it up into one. And so people are going to assume that it's not directly for them because it doesn't directly talk about their specific problem.
Actually works. So yeah, there's an example of how the ad looks like. If you know about Facebook ads, you're probably really familiar with how this looks. And yeah, then, it's loading. I don't know what happened. Should go to lead form and they would fill in like their full name, email, and phone. Yeah, it worked. That's why most people, so they would.
Again, people don't, yes, although it's necessary to briefly touch on the features, people don't care about what the ads look like. They don't care about the lead form. They don't care about the scheduling page. They don't care about any of that. They just care if this will be able to solve their specific problem. That's all they care about. So that's all you need to be talking about during your sales.
go to the scheduling page. But that's the problem. Like, that's why most people that try to help with Facebook ads and all that fail, because like no one at this point, no one knows, like, or trusts you. So like, let's say that, for example, you see an ad that is like $100 off for a teeth whitening session. And it's like, okay, sounds like a really good offer, but I don't know this dentist. Like, I'm going to go with my dentist. I don't trust this other dentist, you know? So because of that, what we do is that we actually have a system to follow up with the leads and handle them. So you're going to see like your leads and at every single stage of the pipeline and everything, like exactly where they are. We send them automated messages as well.
This was so close. I thought he was going to do it. The way that he positioned that about talking about the problem and then talked about the solution was so good. The only thing was that he talked about a generic solution, not Zach's solution, right? He talked about a generic problem and Zach's problem instead of Zach's problem. Then he talked about a generic solution instead of Zach's solution. So if I was to redo this, going back, I would talk about like, listen, Zach, so if we were to do this for you, we get Facebook ad, we get leads and they schedule, but listen, like Zach, most of your leads aren't going to schedule, right? And maybe you've tried Facebook ads in the past and you've run into that issue. So that is why what we're going to do for your lead, Zach, and pro tip, just by mentioning your prospect's name, is going to increase the likelihood and they believe that your product is good for them because they're going to associate their name with this solution, right? They're going to feel like because it has their name on it, because you're saying their name, it subconsciously makes them believe that it is going to solve their problem more.
So that, you know, they actually, like, basically if you send them a message within like a minute of them signing up, the probability of them actually responding is a lot higher. And it, like the studies show.
Studies show what studies? If you're going to say something like studies show, all that kind of stuff, you have to provide sources, you have to do all that kind of stuff.
And yeah, we have all the, here, we have all the SMS and email automations, all of that. And then lastly, it would be the sales part, which will also help you with that. And I want to show you this for a second. So we have here all the objections here. So you have like a lot of objections that they usually have. So the goal seems unattainable, I can't afford it, you know, stuff like that. We have all the objections figured out so that you can call up the leads and use like exactly, like we literally have it figured out. So you pay this much, well, I can send you over like literally this script. Like,
so just to sum up his entire pitch, there was too much focus on features, too much focus on, you know, things that don't actually make any impact on your prospect's life. If I was in Saeed's position, after setting a more proper frame in the beginning of the call and being like, yo, I am a beginner, all that kind of stuff, and being honest and authentic about who you are and, you know, understanding where you sit in the room. When it comes to the features and benefits here, I would first of all be telling a story behind why every feature was developed, what problem you ran into, talking about how this feature actually makes an impact on their life. And the example that I like to use is you don't buy a drill to buy a drill. You also don't buy a drill to be able to put a hole in the wall. You buy a drill so you can hang a photo. Right? And you need to be talking about how you're going to be able to hang the photo, where in Saeed's case, he's more focused on, oh, here's this fancy new drill. Okay? And that is a key difference that can make a huge impact when it comes to sales.
So let me see for a second. We also have
one last thing too, you know, he talks about all these features, but without, you know, case studies or stories to back it up for at least how it was invented, or, you know, if you have case studies, you don't need to tell the backstory about how it was invented all the time. You can just talk about, hey, we did this, here's how it works for this client. Boom, case study. Now the prospect believes that in what you're saying is true. Okay. Now, if you don't have those case studies to back it up, well, what you can do is you can talk about the backstory as how it was created, because that will increase the level of trust that your prospect has in your vehicle, your system, your product's ability to solve their problem and to eliminate the pain, whether it be emotional or physical, that they are facing.
Extras, as I heard you were like talking about, you know, the Google, so we can do Google reviews as well. That's like, we usually run a campaign where we do database reactivation, we call it. So basically we send a mass message to your old leads. You probably have like a list of all people that aren't right now in the gym. Yeah. And we send a message to them, and like, we not only make them come back to the gym, but also leave a review. So it's something like, hey man, we're running something right now that if you leave a review, you get a 10% off, 20% off, whatever. We'll just figure it out. And then that works perfectly. You get more reviews, you get more meetings, like everything, more members, sorry. So it's really good.
Okay.
So yeah, like, does that feel as if it might be what you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something similar to what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Well, like, makes sense. So, like, why do you feel that is?
In the beginning, what Saeed do is excellent. He is crushing this sales. He is doing a very good job. He's asking the right questions at the right time. And I honestly believe that if I was in his position, if Alex was in his position, if, many of the RC members who are, very successful in their own industries were in his position asking the same questions, they would be crushing this presentation, and it would be a lock over whether or not they close. The only thing is that, again, this goes back to my original statement about, understanding where you are in the room. And because Saeed has come in here and, first talking about how he's learning how to drive, and now he's trying to ask the hard-hitting questions, right? You have to be, if you're a beginner, right, or if you're a young kid or anything like that, you're supposed to let your prospect big fish you, right? You're supposed to be this small fish in the room, because you are the small fish, right? And if you try and be the big fish when you're a small fish, it's not going to work. So although, Saeed is hitting the right questions just as a beginner in his position, and I'm saying this because it's my raw, honest feedback, and because I want to provide the most amount of value to you guys as I possibly can. And I understand that, a lot of you guys watching this channel are probably in Saeed's position. So because of that, again, just, whether you're getting into the close, I would keep it very simple for him. I'd be like, hey, can we work together? Almost like puppy dog eyes, right? That is the kind of approach I would be taking as a beginner.
I've been in a lot of these presentations before for
Yeah.
Yeah, boom. He just said it right there.
marketing assistance companies and things like that. So I'm just kind of looking for one that fits. So
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, then why did you not work with other like marketing companies? What did they have? Like, were they just trying to help everyone, right? Didn't know the industry?
there's a lot of fitness-based marketing companies. A lot of them are trying to sell you like a subscription package or something like that. I didn't really like that kind of stuff. So some of them are educational type programs where they want you to like buy their education and do it yourself basically, and that kind of time.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking for a place that has some experience in doing it, and wants to kind of get paid based upon like lead generation and stuff, rather than me paying upfront for membership or something like that.
Yeah, so in regards to that, we usually do like two different types of pricing. So we either do a pay per show, so if the leads actually come, like the potential clients, because it sounds kind of dehumanizing to call them leads. I don't know why, but when you say potential client, it's like, oh, it's a potential client. So when the potential
It's a good little line. I like that line.
client comes to your gym, well, then we get a certain percentage or just a set fee. Or what we are running right now is just a paid trial. So instead of doing $1,500 a month or stuff like that, we just do $500 a month. And it's just so that you can test drive it, and make sure that this is what actually works for you.
You never want to give two options right off the bat, right? In this scenario, I would give one option, and then if they do not close on that option, I would then offer the second option as a downsell. Okay, because you offering the second option, basically devalues the first option. Now, there is a time and a place when you want to do this, but that's typically when you're going to use some sort of, psychological tactic where you can price anchor with your first option to make your second option seem much more desirable. The only issue is that in this case, they were two quote unquote equal options where basically the prospect is just going to make a decision as to which one he believes is going to be cheaper, right?
Okay.
So like, I don't know, which one do you think would be best suited for you?
I'll probably be interested in the percentage per lead.
All right. Yeah, makes sense. So we can totally do that. And like, I think that the main thing with that is that we need to see your offer, how it is, and then we can figure it out from there.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, then if it sounds good for you, we can schedule an onboarding call so that we can set up everything, the ad manager and all of that. So also for the ads, the ad spend we usually do, because to be honest, if you run ads well, you don't really need that much money. So we usually do like anywhere from $20 to $40 a day. Sometimes even $10 a day works well. So yeah, I think if we can do 20 to 40, I don't know what you would be looking to pay.
You want to be able to set the price, right? You don't want to ask them, what do you want to pay? It's like, okay, when we do this in the past, $20 a day is what we need in order to generate good results. Now, I'll be honest with you, some clients, they're able to pull it off with 10, right? Those are clients who live in very strong environments, who are able to, get a lot of bang for the buck, because in addition to the strong environments they're in, they have a very good sales process. Now, other prospects, they do have to spend $30, $40 a day in order to see the results, because usually, and I don't like to say this, but I just want to be honest with you, and I want to be fully transparent so we both know, what we're potentially walking into here. The ones that have to spend 30 to 40 a day are usually the ones that aren't very good at sales. So that being said, we start with $20 a day on ads. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that would be fine. I think when I started opening the gym, I did $50 a day.
50, all right.
That really got a lot of leads.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, so yeah, then we can do that. So when do you have some like free 30 minutes?
Let's see.
Awesome. Well, great work, Saeed, and I had a ton of fun breaking down his sales call. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, if you want a chance to get your sales calls reviewed, or you want to join a community with 1,500 other hungry SMMA owners with free courses, free assets, like literally everything that you could need to be successful and then some. And it's also where Saeed hangs out, and he learns and educates himself, and also his business partner. That's where they met, inside of this community. So if you want to join this community, click the link in the description, and I will see you on the inside.